So one thing to notice is that some of the concepts that have been so foundational to our training that you could see in your textbook, for example, on this slide, are really kind of getting blown up in a pretty big way with new theories about translingualism. And if you haven't heard that term, that blog post that we had you read today talks a little bit about that. And we didn't do too, our readings this week were not very heavy because you were also watching the lecture by Professor Jacobson, but we want to give you enough for you to just revisit some concepts that might be already familiar to you about bilingualism, multilingualism, and then expose you to some challenging concepts that at the very least will make us think. And so the biggest thing, this is probably a really good time for you all just to discuss what you've learned from the readings. But a big point of thinking for us is, what is language? And when we count languages by is two and multi is more than two, versus this idea of translingualism where they reject the idea that there are boundaries between languages, that's just made up, that's not how our minds actually operate. We have what's called a unified linguistic repertoire that we draw from depending on different circumstances. So a lot of our switching between languages, it's not really switching, it's just drawing this one out. And it's not like, oh, I'm turning into this mode versus this mode. It's like, well, we're all the modes and I'm just offering this part of me. It's a very, very different way of thinking. And it also really blows away other terms that we frequently have used in the past, like bilingual, balanced bilinguals, meaning that you are somehow the two things are equal. Basically, anytime you're talking about like this but not that, or there are two, or there are many, you're already drawing boundaries that the translingual folks say is not there. So let's chew on that a little bit, and curious to see what you all think.